1-inch. Pretty sure there's a pinhole leak in that 1-inch copper pipe. But if you can see, there's a leak on that 2-inch drain. There's a leak right there. You can see the water coming out. And then there's also a leak. That's a gas line, which the water heater is right above this. The reason I know that is because this is a TMP discharging into this air gap, and that's a trap primer right there. So I'm thinking maybe their water heater is potentially leaking. I don't know, but that's gas right there. For this one, I think this 1-inch has a pinhole leak, and maybe it's causing it to drip where this is actually the drain for, I'm pretty sure that's the laundry drain. Not entirely sure, but it's definitely not this that's leaking. So, but I don't know, you can see where it's wet right there. All right, got the ceiling opened, and there is no pinhole leak on this copper. It's 1-inch. And what's really interesting is when you stick your hand, it's probably a 2-inch, maybe 2.5, 3-inch hole. When I stick my hand up in there, there's a major draft of cold air coming in. So, based on this, I think the drain is leaking. And then the owner of the unit directly above right here took a picture of the ceiling where their water heater is. And it appears that the water heater above their unit is the one that's leaking because there was water damage all over his ceiling. So now he went in to see if there's water damage on the ceiling where their washing machine is, because it's not the copper pipe, that's for sure. There's a bunch of fireproofing material in the concrete. It was actually quite hard to get out because sopping wet. Little spiders up in there and stuff. So put the camera up there. Couldn't find anything, and it's actually stopped leaking as bad. So nobody else is home in the building, and we need to get above Unit 1 and 2, Unit 2, 3, and 4, I believe. And as you can see, nobody's here. So nothing we can do today. But it's so strange because over the last 30 minutes, it hasn't been leaking as bad because it's starting to dry up. I left my borescope in the garage, so I used that. Not a good idea. I don't recommend ever doing that again. So, save this mystery for another day. You know, on a job like that, when you're playing detective, trying to figure out what's going on, where the leak is coming from, the best thing to do, I've found, is just start asking questions. Because I was there for 2 hours, right? And I was interacting with both of the owners, husband and wife, and then right before I leave, they remember, oh, that's right, the unit above us, or two above us, are remodeling, and they basically tore everything off the walls. They're redoing everything, and that might be the reason for one of these leaks. We deduced the other leak down to those gas lines are running to the HVAC systems, so most likely it's coming from one of the HVAC units, because the owner also said right before I left, oh yeah, that reminds me that usually when it's hot outside, we'll see a leak dripping from those gas pipes. So definitely an HVAC leak. But the other one coming off that 1 inch, now they're thinking that the likelihood of that leak coming from the top floor is quite good, because everything's torn out of there, and the wife said they were using these kind of sketchy guys, and maybe they didn't do something right. So although there was no plumbing action, and more just detective work, there's a lot to be learned. Ask questions. Even if you think it's stupid, just ask questions to the people that live there, because you're trying to figure out the building as well. So until you learn the building, you're kind of in the dark as well, and you'd be surprised at how well people actually know the building and know the pipes because of past plumbing issues that they've had. So never assume that this little old lady or old man or whoever doesn't know anything about the plumbing, because you'd be surprised. So that's the lesson I took away from this job. And we left it at the husband is going to, he's a younger guy and quite fit, so he's going to go to all 3 floors, examine and we also deduced down to where the leak is coming from. And all the units used to have these wet bars, and we're 95% certain it's coming from the wet bar area. So he's going to go into all the units above his and examine that area. Also examine the HVACs, which is literally on the other side of where the wet bars were. And then they're going to call me back, and then once we can locate what's leaking, then I'll fix it. But if not, then you just charge them for the time that you were there. I'll probably give them a little discount. I'm not going to charge them the full 2 hours that I was there, because I didn't really do much work. So, but always something to learn.